Hello, welcome to Zines and Roger. This is a tutorial for an asymmetric granny stitch cowl, and it's dead quick and dead simple, mostly because granny stitches are simple and because it's made out of chunky yarn, so it works up really fast. I'm using Stylecraft alpaca tweed chunky because I bought it on sale. You need 3 balls in different colours, so I've got these 3, a pink, a teal and a cream, and with that I'm using an 8mm hook. The written instructions accompany this, they're on my blog, and then I'll take a photograph of this as well, which is just a chart of the shape, and if you want to do the colours you can, they're all lined out here, and just where the increases go to do the shaping, and all the other bits and bobs that might be useful, like how you join it together at the end and stuff. So chain 28, that's the first thing you need to do. So slip stitch and then chain 28. Here is 28 chains. In the 4th chain from the hook, you want to put in 1 double US double crochet, UK treble crochet, and that counts as 1 stitch and 1 treble. Sorry, counts as 2 trebles, and that chain is counting as a stitch. Miss 2 chains and then do 3 stitches in the next. That's 3 UK trebles, US doubles. It's a repeat of that all the way along, so you miss 2 and then make 3 stitches in the next chain. As with most crochet, the kick-off is always the trickiest bit, so you can take your time working into that chain. 1, 2. So do that all the way along, so you're making clusters of 3 every 3rd chain. When you reach the end, make 2 stitches in the very last chain. So that's your first row done. So you have 2 here on the end, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clusters of 3, and then 2 on the end here. So chain 3 and turn, or turn and then chain 3, whatever. In each space between these clusters, you're going to do more clusters. So it's just a question of 3 stitches in each space. I would say chain space, but we didn't chain in between. I don't think you need to chain in between. Although traditional grannies do have chains in between. This, you don't need them. Right, so you're just making clusters all the way along. When you get to the end and you've made your last cluster in the last space, just make 1 US double, UK treble in the top of the end stitch. And so where this bottom row has 2 at the end, this one has got 1 stitch on the end. Chain 3 and turn and make 1 treble. You can make it in, I think I wrote in the pattern to make it in the same stitch, which is here, but you can cheat and just go under. It makes very little difference. That's just a little bit quicker, marginally. And then again, making clusters all the way along and finishing with 2 trebles in the top stitch or in that gap for speed. So you do that, and then each row is basically, it's every other. You're alternating with 1 on the end, 2 on the end, 1 on the end and 2 on the end, and you'll find that you'll have 7 clusters, 8 clusters, 7 clusters, 8 clusters, and you do that for 24 rows. If you want, you can do it in all one colour. That's what I'm going to focus on making in a bit. Or you can do it so that it's stripy, as in the sketch I showed you and my first cowl. So it has stripes. You've got 5 rows in one colour and then single rows of different colours and 5 rows and so on. So to change colour, I will show you what to do, but I'll just build up a few more rows and then we'll change our first colour. After 5 rows, you've got 2 stitches on the last bit, not 1. And to change colour, halfway through the last stitch, just draw through the new colour, and then you can begin on row 6. So that's the same as the alternate rows there. So it's chain 3 and then you're just making the clusters again, and the only difference is you've changed your colour. So you can snip the old one and carry on with the new colour, and then depending on how you want to do it, you can do it every other row, or whatever you like, doesn't matter, choice is yours. But it's the same principle whether or not you've got 2 stitches or 1 stitch. You change colour on the last stitch of the row to begin the next, and then you just carry on as normal. And so you do that for another however many rows until you're at row 24. Row 25 is when you do the next increase. So I'm just going to move that one to one side because I've actually got to that row on this piece here. With no colour changes, I just fancied all one colour. I am here at the end, so I'm just going to make my last treble US double stitch on that one. I'm going to turn it, and then this is the increase row, the first increase row. So chain 3 and then make 2 stitches, so you have another cluster added, and then you continue as normal with your clusters along to the other end. Treat that as normal that end, and that's your first increase row. The next 2 rows will be repeating rows 3 and 2 again. So here we have the first increase, and coming back, as I said, this is normal, so you just go in 2 1 2 1 with your stitches down this side. That's all going to stay straight. Here is your increase, and we're just going to do 2 stitches into the top of it, and then that's oh, I'm just going to cheat and go under, don't tell anyone. That's a repeat of row 3, and then you're repeating row 2, and it's just carrying on as normal, but you've done your increase here, and so you'll notice that it slowly starts building outwards, because you're going to repeat these 3 rows 6 times until it's out there somewhere. But it's all written down on the blog, so if you want to just check that out, you'll see what I mean. And there'll be the picture of that chart I did as well. So you just do that back and forth until you've got that shape. So that's where we are at the minute. We're about here, and we're just going to build up. I am at row 45, which is here. So I've done all my repeats of 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 up this side. So now that's got a nice sort of triangular shape on that end, and then this on this side is all nice and straight all the way down to where we started. And so I can fasten off if I want to, and then join a new colour to work clusters along here and then down this edge, just to make it a bit tidier, because as it sits on the neck, this point will be at the front of you, so you want it to be maybe a bit tidier. You can leave it as it is if you like, that's fine, but I think it's nice to have a border just to make things a weeny bit tidier. I'm going to work in all one colour, so I will stick to the cream, but again, you can do what you like. Do what you like. So this is row 45, and then we'll go on to the border and go all the way around. So I'm just going to do another row of clusters along here, and then I'll show you what to do when we get to the point. We're at the corner, so we're just going to do 2 sets of clusters in the corner, clusters being 3 trebles or US doubles. So that's 1 set of 3, chain 2, and in the same space, which is essentially the gap between the last stitch of this row and the first cluster. That's where you're making your corner. So that's your corner made, and then work down this long side, and basically you're making a cluster in every other row. So you skip this row and make your next cluster of trebles of stitches, 3 stitches in the end of that row, miss a row and go in the stitch of that one. Do it all the way along. So I started here for my edging and went all the way along there. There's the corner, and then all the way down, whoops, down the edge. And I haven't quite finished, but it's just a question of my final cluster in the end, and then I'll fasten off when I've done that. Oops. Over to my left is all the Lego that usually sits on this desk. I just swooshed it over to the other side. Right, I'm going to fasten off. I'll leave like a 50 centimetre tail or so, So you've got your funny shape now, and you need to attach this end to this bit here, so the opposite of where your point is. That is going to be smushed around to fit on there, and you just sew it together. So I'll show you how to do that next. I've zoomed out a little bit so you hopefully get a better view of what it looks like. So this end, and I've got a needle on that long tail. I'm just going to place it like that, and we're going to sew along here. So here's your corner, match it with that, and then you're going to make a hole here for your head. But before we start playing around with sticking it on our head, sew it together first. It's not too much of an issue which stitch you use. You can whip stitch it, you could crochet it together if you wanted to, whatever. I just like to go back and forth, which I think is a mattress stitch. Just plop it in anywhere really, just sort of every now and again, just to give it a shake to make sure that they're both the same, so neither one of them is stretched out of shape or anything like that. When you have sewn them together, it looks a bit like this. Neck hole. So get to the end and just sew it in any way you like, nice and neat, obviously, and then snip it when you're done. I will say that my tension is quite loose, so if you are a tight crocheter, then go up a size or two, because you want it to be a nice drape. That'll do. I tied a knot in it, so that's fine. And there you have your cowl, which is asymmetric. If you want to, you can add a load of tassels. Why not? Push the boat out. If you did want to add tassels, get yourself 3 bits of yarn about that long. What's that, 40 centimetres, maybe 14 inches? That's complete guesswork, I don't know. Fold it in half and then put through there, and then just loop it through. Just really quick tassels like that, and then you can do them. Gosh, that's quite long. Trim to desired length. And then you could add them through all the gaps between the clusters, all the way around, or at least up till like up to there, those points there, something like that. Do what you like. It's not up to me, it's up to you. Right, for more details, as I've said, the pattern is on the blog, as are more free patterns, and I have more tutorials. If you want to go and check those out, feel free. And I will try and come back a bit sooner this time, because the last time I did a tutorial was ages ago. So I'm going to try and do a few more over the next couple of months. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheerio, bye!